So Governor Umo Eno of Akwa Ibom State is making a funfair out of his decamping from the PDP to the APC. He's throwing a party with all the paparazzi, making a mountain out of a molehill about his decamping from the APC to the PDP and from the PDP to the APC. Now the question is this: does it increase the chances of Tinubu that a PDP governor is decamping to APC? Does it? That's question one. Question two: does the decamping of Governor Umo Eno affect the chances of Peter Obi in any way in the 2027 presidential election? Does it? Let's take a look at some critical data. Let's be clear. If the election in 2027 is free and fair, would it matter that all the governors of all the 36 states decamp into APC? Would it matter? If the election in 2027 is free and fair, Peter Obi wins hands down. It doesn't matter if he has 0 governors or 36 governors. We saw what happened in 2023. He had 0 governors, yet he was still able to win 12 states. Yes, including the FCT. The same thing Buhari did in 2011. Without having any governors, he was able to get 12 million votes, even though the election was rigged. So all these paparazzi that the PDP governors are doing for decamping from PDP to APC doesn't affect the chances of Peter Obi if there is free and fair election. Now that we got that out of the way, the question now is, will Tinubu allow free and fair election in 2027? That is the critical question. The preponderance of opinion is that Tinubu will rig the 2027 elections. In fact, they are saying that he will just write the results and get INEC to announce them. Like he did worse than he did in 2023. But then when they drive these narratives, the question is, how do they expect Nigerians to react to this narrative that Tinubu will rig the 2027 elections? Are Nigerians supposed to just take that information and swallow it, drink water on top of it, and relax, throw their hands in the air and say, oh, there's no hope. They have written the election results. Let's give up and let them continue beyond 2027. Is that the reaction they're expecting from Nigerians? Perhaps. But is that the reaction that Nigerians will give them? The answer is no. If the plan is to rig 2027 election, which is clear to everybody, all of this decamping of governors from the PDP, from wherever, into the APC, is to provide a ground for them to rig. Is to think about it. Why do you think they are doing it? They want to attack the spirit of the Nigerian, to break the Nigerian spirit, to stop them from bothering, to gather, to organize against them. And they are concerned, they are afraid, really. So one of their strategies is to break the spirit of the Nigerian so that they don't even bother to come. And the reason they say this, that the 2027 election is rigged, is to activate their biggest weapon. You think it's rigging? It is not. The biggest weapon of Tinubu in the 2027 election is voter apathy. They know it, that if all 94 million registered Nigerians with PVC come out to come and vote, it will be near impossible for them to rig. They know it. So part of the things they're trying to do now is break the spirit of the Nigerian by forcing these governors to decamp, to make it look like all Nigeria is supporting Tinubu, but you and I know better. Are all Nigerians supporting Tinubu? So would we allow them to break our spirit? Would we give them the privilege to activate their biggest weapon, which is rigging by voter apathy? No. What can we do? There is a community in this Abuja. Twice, armed robbers wrote them letters. And I know it happens across the whole of Nigeria. Insecurity has become a thing. Twice, armed robbers wrote them a letter that they were coming to come and rob them. You know, robbers are that bold these days. The first time they came, they robbed successfully and left. The second time, they robbed successfully and left. The third time again, they wrote another letter. It dawned on these people that they cannot continue to just fold their hands and rely on police, because usually when they called, police will come after the robbers had gone. And trust me, these robbers will rob sometimes 2 hours. So the third time, they decided to prepare themselves. They got some extra vigilante. All the young men woke up and they put very serious strategy in place. They didn't gather in one place. They put themselves in different strategic locations where they suspect that the robbers will come from, and they picked them out. They got about 7 out of them. There were about 40, these armed robbers. That's how they move. With the strategy they put in place, they got about 7 of them. They were able to prevent the robbery from happening, and the robbers never robbed them till date. What is the import of this? If we know that in 2027, if there is free and fair election, Peter Obi wins. But then again, we know, we are 100% certain of it, that Tinubu is not likely to allow free and fair elections. We are seeing the signs. INEC is refusing to register political parties, something that we will contest with them anyway. And we're seeing this forced decamping from other parties into the APC. We are seeing all of these things. These are signs that free and fair elections is not going to be likely in 2027. They are signs. INEC sent reforms to the National Assembly and the compulsory and mandatory transmission of election results from the polling unit to online, and electronic collation and immediate publishing or transmission is not in the reforms of INEC. What does that tell you? That they are not ready, they are not planning for a free and fair election in 2027. So if we know that they are not planning for free and fair elections, what are we supposed to do? Sit down and let them come the way they attacked that community until the community stood up? No. What we need to do is to stand up and think, yes, they are going to rig. How exactly is it that they rig elections in Nigeria? We all know it. No rigging can happen without INEC complicity. No rigging can happen without the security agency complicity. No rigging can happen without thugs and polling unit violence. No rigging can happen without the judiciary ratifying it. These are the 4 points of failure, or points that actually enable rigging in Nigeria. Now, question is this. If we know this is how they rig, can we put measures in place to prevent them from rigging? Is there a way we can put measures in place to make sure that when they try to use the security agencies, they will fail? When they try to use their thugs, they will fail. When they try to compromise INEC, they will fail. When they try to compromise the judiciary, they will fail. Is there a way we can achieve this as Nigerians, patriotic Nigerians? The answer is yes. We can check all these means and strategies for rigging. But we need a solution that captures, that looks at it holistically. And that solution is Project Ego. With Project Ego, it won't matter that Tinubu is both the presidential candidate of the APC, and in fact, if he likes, let him make himself the INEC chairman. If he likes, let him also be the Inspector General of Police and the Chief of Defense Staff. If he likes, let him be the Chief Justice of Nigeria. If we implement every of the 7 action plan of Project Eagle, it's game over. It's game over. Tinubu will not be able to rig the 2027 elections. They say to be forewarned is to be forearmed. If we know that the likelihood is there for the elections of 2027 to be rigged, then as smart people, we should take proactive steps. And these proactive steps is Project Eagle. What exactly is Project Eagle?